Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something I think we all struggle with at some point, bridging that huge, frustrating gap between just dreaming about our goals and actually getting them done. We're unpacking a really fascinating blueprint today called The Architecture of Action, and it's basically a highly practical guide for building daily discipline and habits. If you've ever felt stuck in a holding pattern, this is exactly what we need to explore together. We're going to figure out the real, tangible routines you can use to transform your goals into reality.
So let's take a second here. Think about the life you actually dream of. A life where you wake up completely energized, where you feel completely in control of your daily routines, and where you're consistently knocking out progress. Got in your head? Okay, now I want you to ask yourself, if you truly want that life, why on earth are you still waiting? Because most people spend their entire lives just sitting in the waiting room. They're waiting for more money, a sudden burst of confidence, or for the quote-unquote perfect system to just magically fall into their lap. But here's the hard truth we have to confront right out of the gate. That perfect moment you're waiting for, yeah, it's never coming.
Here is a quick roadmap for our explainer today. We're going to look at the trap of waiting, rewriting your internal story, motivation versus discipline, the power of ordinary moments, redefining failure, and finally, making today day one. Let's jump right in.
All right, part one, the trap of waiting, and honestly, the massive illusion of the perfect time.
You know, we always kind of assume that highly successful people have some secret advantage or superpower, right? But the reality is, they just start building their habits way before they feel ready. And it all boils down to micro choices. I mean, every single morning you face a literal crossroads. You can hit that snooze button and retreat back into your dreams, or you can wake up and actually build the life you've always imagined. It seems completely insignificant in the moment, just 5 extra minutes of sleep, big deal, right? But this tiny, seemingly small decision completely sets the tone for your trajectory that day.
And when we zoom out a bit, it is wild to see how repeating that initial morning choice compounds over weeks, months, and years. Over time, those daily systems of hitting snooze or alternatively choosing to wake up and attack the day create two wildly different futures. On one hand, you have a future filled with regret, constantly looking back and wondering what could have been. On the other, a future filled with purpose. The architecture of action really starts by recognizing that our grand overarching future is constructed by these tiny daily binary choices.
Moving along to part two, rewriting your internal story and changing the narrative. Okay, so your absolute biggest roadblock in building a disciplined life, it's not your past, it's not your background, it's literally the story you're playing on a loop in your head. It's that quiet, nagging whisper saying, I'm not good enough, or the classic, I'll just do it tomorrow. But the fix here is surprisingly practical. Imagine just swapping out I can't with I'll learn. Or instead of saying I'm afraid, you actually acknowledge the fear and say, you know what, I'll do it anyway. Your life begins to change the exact second you actively replace the words that are quietly stealing your future. It's a mental habit and you have to consciously practice it every single day.
That brings us to section 3, motivation versus discipline. This right here is the absolute core engine of change.
If we want to build real sticky daily habits, we have to swallow a pretty tough pill. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays. Relying strictly on how motivated you feel on any given Tuesday is a massive, dangerous trap. Because progress demands action even on the days you lack motivation, even when you're totally exhausted, and even when the conditions are far from perfect. If you only put in the work when you feel inspired, your progress is going to be completely erratic. Think about it. Discipline is exactly what keeps you moving forward when that warm, fuzzy feeling of motivation completely vanishes. It's what keeps you working when nobody is watching and absolutely nobody is cheering for you. While motivation is busy dreaming about the future, discipline is out there with a hard hat actually building it. Motivation might be the initial spark that gets the engine turning, but discipline is the reliable daily routine that's going to drive you all the way across the country.
And this sets off a really clear psychological chain reaction. It goes like this. Step 1 is your thoughts, which naturally creates step 2, your daily habits. Those habits then inform step 3, the practical, boots-on-the-ground choices you make every single day. And finally, those choices dictate step 4, your destiny. It's that simple, but also that profound. If you want a totally different future, you have to engineer different habits right now. Your daily routines are quite literally constructing your life, brick by brick.
All right, section 4. The power of ordinary moments and where success is actually built behind the scenes.
We absolutely love to glamorize success, don't we? We act like it's this sudden, massive lightning strike. But it's not. It is built in the trenches, in these practical, seemingly invisible ordinary moments.
It's the workout you dragged yourself through when it was pouring rain outside. It's the book you read instead of doom scrolling on your phone for an hour. The extra time you spent learning a new skill late at night. The difficult conversation you finally gathered the courage to have. These ordinary actions and disciplined habits compound until one day everyone looks at you and calls you an overnight success, completely missing the massive, hidden foundation of routines you painstakingly built.
Which leads us to Section 5, redefining the role of failure and embracing the reality of setbacks.
Look, as you build out these daily habits and systems, things are going to blow up. You will mess up, and you'll probably doubt yourself. Every single successful person on earth has been there. The biggest myth out there is that failure is the opposite of success. Actually, scratch that. We have to completely wipe that from our minds. Failure is not the opposite. It is a crucial part of success. You have to stop fearing it. Because every single setback teaches you something invaluable about your process. Every mistake makes your systems wiser, and every challenge just makes you stronger. Honestly, the only thing you should truly fear is staying in the exact same place for the next 5 years.
And finally, Section 6, make today day one. Consider this your ultimatum. If you want to actually implement this architecture of action, you've got to ruthlessly protect your time, your energy, and your habits. You have to stop looking at someone else's finish line and comparing it to your starting line. The only person, literally the only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. Look, maybe life has been unfair to you, or maybe you've totally blown big opportunities in the past, but your past is just a chapter, guys. It's not the whole book. You still have plenty of empty pages left to fill with much better choices. Because here's the absolute kicker. Time is going to pass anyway. 1 year from now is going to show up regardless of what you do today. The million-dollar question is, when that year passes, will you arrive stronger because you built discipline and took action today? Or will you show up with the exact same list of excuses? Just take a second and think about your future self. Are they going to thank you for today's practical decisions? Or will they desperately wish you had just instituted some better habits sooner?
Ultimately, the world really doesn't need another person full of excuses. It needs someone brave enough to build the right habits and take practical action right now. Years down the road, you're going to tell one of two stories. Will you tell the story of why you never started? Or will you tell the epic story of the day you finally drew a line in the sand, stopped making excuses, and built a system that actually works? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for exploring this guide with me today. Now go out there, and I challenge you to make today your day one.